Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Students, today our topic is banking sector of Pakistan. As you know, an efficient and sound banking system is very important for economic development of a country. The commerce, industry, agriculture, import and export, etc., all are related with banking system. And banking system of a country helps all these sectors. It promotes all these sectors by financing, by advancing loans, etc., and by performing its services, particularly in import and export of the country. The banking system in a country plays a vital role in its economic development. When Pakistan came into being, it inherited a weak banking system managed by inexperienced staff. At the time of independence, only two commercial banks, Habib Bank and Australasia Bank, were operative, while the banking system was supervised by the Reserve Bank of India (RBI). There was immediate need to stabilize the banking system. To achieve this objective, the central bank, with the name of State Bank of Pakistan, was established and inaugurated by Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah on 1st July 1948. With the establishment of SBP, more commercial banks got licensed to operate. At the time of nationalization of banks on 1st January 1974, there were 23 scheduled commercial banks, including 15 Pakistani and 8 foreign banks. At the time of nationalization, the total deposits of the commercial banks were Rs 15.8 billion. The government of Pakistan arranged mergers of small banks into the larger banks, and only 5 scheduled banks were formed. These banks include National Bank of Pakistan (NBP), Habib Bank Limited (HBL), United Bank Limited (UBL), Muslim Commercial Bank Limited (MCB). Now it is again renamed as MCB Bank Limited, and Allied Bank Limited (ABL). The foreign banks were not nationalized, but they were made to abide by all domestic banking laws. In 1980s, all these banks, excluding the National Bank of Pakistan, were privatized. The structure of banking system in Pakistan comprises of the following. Number 1, State Bank of Pakistan as the central bank of Pakistan. Number 2, commercial banks, scheduled banks which include National Bank of Pakistan, Habib Bank, United Bank, Muslim Commercial Bank and Allied Bank. There are also some private banks operating in Pakistan as Bank Al-Falah, Faisal Bank, Saudi Pak Bank, Mizan Bank and Bank Islami, etc. Non-scheduled banks are cooperative banks, etc. National saving centers and postal bank are also in operation. Number 3, specialized development financial institution DFIs. They include Industrial Development Bank of Pakistan IDBP. It was established in 1961. Agricultural Development Bank of Pakistan ADBP, which is now named as Zar-e Taraqqiyati Bank Limited ZTBL. It was also established in 1961. House Building Finance Corporation HBFC, micro credit banks like in Khushali Bank, SME Bank, etc. Now our central bank, that is State Bank of Pakistan. SBP is the Central Bank of Pakistan, which supervises the entire banking system of the country. The administration of this SBP is run by a central board of directors, which include one governor, one or more deputy governors, and 9 directors. The governor of SBP is appointed by the government of Pakistan for a period of 5 years. 6 directors are appointed by the government, while 3 are elected by the shareholders. Then departments of the State Bank of Pakistan. Number 1, issue department. This department issues currency notes and maintain a stability of rupee value. Now students, Issuance of currency notes is based generally on two principles. One principle is currency principle and the other is banking principle. In England, Bank of England issues currency notes and it backs its currency with 100% gold or silver. But in banking principle, a percentage is kept as gold or silver and the remaining is based on securities. So Pakistan is working on banking principle. 30% is kept back in the form of gold or silver, and 70% they are backed by securities. The number two, banking department. A fundamental responsibility of SBP is regulation and supervision of the financial system to ensure its soundness and stability. This department is responsible for controlling commercial banks. All scheduled banks are required to deposit a portion of their deposits with the SBP. SBP lends money to the commercial banks. It also acts as lender of the last resort for all banks. This department also issues instructions and guidelines to the commercial banks and financial institutions. Number three, Foreign Exchange Department. This department controls all inflows and outflows of the foreign exchange. It is responsible to implement foreign exchange policy of the government. Number four, Research Department. This department makes research and formulates policies for a sound macroeconomic management. This department has a significant contribution in achievement of main objectives of the SBP. Now we come to functions of State Bank of Pakistan. These are functions and also the powers of State Bank of Pakistan are also included in it. First one is issuance of the currency notes. The SBP issues currency notes of all denominations of 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, 500, 1000 and 5000 rupees. The SBP follows the principle of proportionate reserve or banking principle. It keeps 30% reserve of gold or silver of the currency issued. The remaining 70% is in the shape of deposits, securities, bonds, etc. The SBP supervises inflation as well as value of currency while issuing currency. Number two, Bank of the Government. The SBP acts as Bank of the Government through these activities. All receipts and payments of the government are made through SBP. The SBP arranges to get loans for the government and it also repays the loans of the government. It is also monetary advisor to the government. The State Bank of Pakistan keeps deposits of provincial and federal governments and lends them money when needed. The State Bank of Pakistan follows the policy of exchange rate control. It regulates foreign exchange market and announces interbank exchange rate of Pak rupee versus other currencies of the world. The SBP helps the government in preparation of budget, development programs, import and export policies. Number three is Bankers Bank. The State Bank of Pakistan also works as banker of all commercial banks. All scheduled banks keep 5% of all their deposits with the SBP and the SBP acts for them as lender of the last resort. The SBP, students lender of the last resort, means that when the scheduled banks, commercial banks, they are in need of cash, they have no other alternative than they go to the central bank, that is State Bank of Pakistan, and State Bank of Pakistan provides them cash loan so that they may meet the requirements of their account holders. This is this happens generally in time of crisis when people withdraw cash externally or extraordinary from the banks. The banks do not keep all the deposits intact. They give loans out of their deposits and therefore they have not 100% cash with them. The account holders, when they need money, they commercial banks, they cannot fulfill 100% requirement of the account holders, and therefore it has to go to State Bank of Pakistan to get loan to meet this requirement. The SBP regulates and monitors the activities of the banks as opening of new branches, deciding about working hours in the banking system, legislates about general terms and conditions of the bank's employees. It also works as clearinghouse. It implements its monetary policy through the commercial banks. The SBP also monitors the performance of the commercial banks through their balance sheets. The SBP announces bank rate, which regulates lending of money by the commercial banks. The SBP also conducts training program for the employees of commercial banks. Now, student clearinghouse means that the commercial bank, they adjust their accounts, they interchange their checks, etc., drawn on each other through the state bank, and therefore state bank is said to be the clearinghouse for the commercial banks. Then bank rate means that rate on which the central bank, State Bank of Pakistan, gives loans to the commercial banks, and this bank rate influences the rate of interest which is charged by the commercial banks. If the bank rate is low, then the commercial banks, they charge also a low rate of interest from the borrowers, and if the bank rate is a high one, then the rate of interest charged by the banks, commercial banks, from their account holders is high. So this is a regulator. If State Bank of Pakistan likes to reduce the rate of interest, then it reduces its bank rate, and if it likes to enhance or raise the rate of interest in the country, then it raises its own bank rate. Now, economic stability. The SBP takes steps to stabilize the economy by advancing loans for the development of industrial and agricultural sectors. It also finances development schemes of the government. The SBP also helps in the promotion of stock exchange activities. You have studied in money market and capital market that a State Bank of Pakistan or the central bank of our country has a very important role in these markets by having part in the activities through issuance of treasury bills, etc., and other activities which are supervised by State Bank of Pakistan. The number 5 is custodian of metallic money. The SBP also is the custodian of metallic money in the country. It takes care of precious metal in the country, gold and silver, etc. SBP is the custodian of these precious metals. Then number 6, monetary policy. The SBP implements its monetary policy through bank rate policy, open market operation, changes in bank's reserve ratio, changes in cash reserve requirements, which is called CRR, credit rationing, moral persuasion, publicity, credit control, changes in margin requirements, and direct action. Now we come to commercial banks. That is the second important sector in the banking sector, which is commercial banks. The commercial banks in Pakistan are performing all important functions which are as under. Number 1, accepting deposits. These banks accept deposits from the general public. These deposits are of many kinds. Fixed deposits. These deposits are kept for a specific period as 1 year or 5-year term or for a longer term. The depositors cannot draw the amount before completion of the specific period. The banks generally offer a good rate of interest based on the period of deposit. That is, the rate of interest will be low for 1 year term, it will be higher than in 5-year term, and it will again be higher in more than 5-year term. So the rate of interest which is given by the commercial bank to the depositors for time deposit or fixed deposits, it is based on the period of deposit. Then demand or current deposits. Businessmen generally like this type of deposit or account so that they may get their amount as and when needed. These deposits accounts do not give interest to the account holders. These accounts are generally run by the traders and businessmen because they need cash or money oftenly, and whatever they have surplus they deposit in the banks, and when they need it then they draw back this amount, their deposit amount from the banks. Then saving deposits. These deposits accounts are liked by people who have surplus money and like to get a higher rate of interest. Such accounts may be restricted to draw cash up to a fixed number of times in a month. Interest rate on these deposits is less than fixed or time deposits. Saving deposits are generally run by the people who have small savings and they go on depositing their savings in the bank, and they also get a low rate of interest on these saving deposits. So there are two purposes of these deposits. One is the their saving remains safe, and the second is when they need some aid financially they earn these deposits as a low rate of interest is also paid to them. Then profit and loss sharing accounts. In 1980s, these PLS accounts were introduced to eliminate the interest. These accounts have not predetermined rate of profit, but the banks announce the profit rates on the basis of their earnings during 6 months. The profit rates of different banks differ from each other. A student's PLS accounts means that the people deposit their amounts with the banks on profit and loss basis. The banks they invest those amounts in securities, etc., or they lend these amounts to the borrowers and they earn interest or profit on these securities and loans, and out of that the banks give a portion of their earnings to the account holders who keep profit and loss sharing accounts with them. The number two is advancing loans. That is the second important function of the commercial banks. To lend money to the people who are in need of money is the second most important function of the commercial banks. The money deposited by the people in banks is lent to the people who need loans. The difference between the rate of interest allowed to deposits is less than the rate of interest charged from borrowers is the profit of banks. The banks, for example, if a bank allows 10% to fixed deposits for a 5-year term, then they charge 20 to 25% interest on the loans which they give to the people. So in this way, the difference between these two rates, that is the profit of the bank. The bank generally keep a particular ratio of the deposits to meet the cash requirements of their account holders. The banks keep the property, jewelry, land or other assets as collateral while advancing loans to the borrowers. Collateral means a type of security against the loan, because commercial banks they make it very safe that their loan may not be defaulted, and the people should be in a position to pay back the loan, and if they do not pay back then the banks they get court orders for the sale of their collateral, property, jewelry, etc., and in this way the bank gets its amount which it gave as loan to the account holders or to the borrowers. Number three, discounting the bills of exchange. The commercial banks also give loans in the form of discounting various kinds of bills of exchange. The traders mostly use this method of getting loans before maturity of the bills of exchange. The banks receive commission for this service. In this way, banks promote commerce. A student's bill of exchange is a document which is exchanged between the traders for credit transactions. For example, Mr. A gives goods worth rupees 5 lakh to Mr. B and Mr. B does not pay cash to Mr. A. B issues a bill of exchange in favor of Mr. A and gives this document to Mr. A, and the writing is, for example, 60 days after rupees 5 lakh will be paid to Mr. B for the value received. This type of commitment is given in the bill of exchange. Now 60 days is the period of the bill of exchange, but after 30 days Mr. B requires the cash, then he cannot compel Mr. A to pay him the amount 30 days before the maturity of bill of exchange. So therefore he can go to the commercial bank and can get its bill of exchange discounted by the commercial bank. So the commercial bank will receive commission for 30 days period which is left in the maturity of the bill, and in this way commercial bank will earn commission on discounting this bill of exchange. Then number 4, cheap medium of exchange. The checks issued by the banks are accepted by the people instead of cash. The big transactions the big transaction is normally done through bank transfer or demand draft. The people and businessmen accept checks, drafts, pay orders, and credit cards for frequent use in transactions. Then number 5, safe transfer of money. The commercial banks have made transfer of money from one place to the other very easy and safe. The money is transferred through demand draft (DD), check, telegraphic transfer (TT), ATM cards, etc., and online also. This service has minimized the loss of life and money to a great extent. It means that people do not travel with heavy amounts with them. They just go to the bank and they get a demand draft in the favor of the person to whom they have to make payment, and that DD is payable only to that person and not to any other. So if that demand draft is stolen, again it cannot be cashed and encashed by any other person. So therefore the loss of money is minimized. The number 6 is agency services. The commercial banks also provide agency services and facilitate people in the payment of utility bills, government taxes, and dues to the various departments. These banks also work as agents to the importers and exporters. Newly established joint stock companies sell their shares initially through the commercial banks. And in this way, the joint stock companies, they publish their prospectus in the newspapers in which they mention the banks and branches from where they can get application forms and where they can deposit the amount of their applications for shares. So banks in this way help very much the newly established joint stock companies in getting capital from the general public. Number 7, locker services. These banks also provide self-operated lockers to enable people to keep their jewelry, important papers, wills, etc. in safe custody of banks. And when they need these things, jewelry, their papers or wills, they can go to the bank they can open their locker themselves and they can get these documents from the bank, which remains in safe custody of the banks. The number 8 is investment. The commercial banks also invest a portion of their deposits in profitable business as securities. They help and promote investment in the country. Number 9, miscellaneous services. These banks facilitate people in submitting their applications for Hajj and Umrah. Microcredit banks like SME Bank, Khushali Bank, and microfinance banks, etc., are also supporting and promoting small and medium enterprises. These banks are also financing self employment schemes and Rozgar schemes to reduce unemployment in the country. These banks also play an important role in increasing circulation of money through credit creation. Now, the largest commercial bank of Pakistan, that is National Bank of Pakistan, we discussed. NBP was established on 20th November 1949 with the objective of providing support to jute and cotton exporting sector by purchasing cotton and jute from domestic market to export abroad. Students, at that time, Pakistan was combined, West Pakistan and East Pakistan. East Pakistan was famous in production of jute, and West Pakistan, which is presently known as Pakistan, it was famous in production of cotton. And these two items were our main exported items to other countries. So this bank was given the objective to support these industries, jute and cotton industries, for exporting purpose. So the bank helped in purchasing cotton and jute from domestic market and to export abroad. NBP was a semi-government organization at the time of its establishment, but in January 1974 it was nationalized. At that time, all the commercial banks were also nationalized by the government. NBP works as an agent of the SBP where there is no branch of SBP. NBP also performs functions of a commercial banks. So, National Bank of Pakistan performs all the functions of commercial bank, and its a peculiarity or a characteristic is that it is also an agent of the State Bank of Pakistan. So where in those cities, in those areas where there is no branch of SBP, at that place National Bank of Pakistan works as the agent of SBP. Then administration of NBP. The executive board of the bank is headed by the president of the bank, supported by 5 senior executive officers. In 1980, the central government had established a board of directors comprising of bank's president, 5 senior executives, and one representative each of Pakistan Banking Council and Ministry of Finance. NBP is working under administrative control of SBP under new SBP Act 2001. The other functions are all functions of a commercial bank are performed by the National Bank of Pakistan. B. It acts as agent of SBP. C. It accepts all government receipts and makes all government payments. D. Sale and purchase of securities from domestic and international markets. E. Providing loan to the government for sale and purchase of food grains. You know, government purchases wheat at the time of its harvest from the farmers, and a huge amount is needed to purchase a large quantity of wheat from the farmers. The National Bank comes and it provides loan to the government for this purpose. Then timely accomplishment of the government development schemes. Number G, doing business of foreign exchange on behalf of SBP. Performance of National Bank of Pakistan. Soon after its inception, the NBP started playing its role in making banking system strong as an agent of SBP. Number one, the NBP has mobilized more deposits than the other banks. Its lending and investment also exceed other banks. That is, as compared to other commercial banks, National Bank of Pakistan has more deposits and more investments. Number two, it has extended loans not only to the industrial and business sectors but also to the farmers and rural credit schemes. Rural credit, it includes agriculture credit and non-agriculture credit. That is, in rural areas there are small workshops, factories, etc., and there are activities other than farm activities. So in rural credit, there are farm activities as well as non-farm activities. So those activities which are related with crops, they are farm activities, and those activities which are not related with cultivation or crops, they are known as non-farm activities, just as poultry farming, fish farming, cattle breeding. These sectors may be promoted with the help of rural credit schemes. The number three, National Bank of Pakistan has also financed and promoted SME sector, that is small and medium enterprises sector. These small enterprises and medium sized enterprises, they are financed, they get loans from the National Bank of Pakistan. And in this way, National Bank of Pakistan promotes this sector, SME sector. Number four, promoted modern banking techniques and training through Banking Training Institute. Number five, NBP has also established Bank Al Jazeera in collaboration with Saudi government, and its more than 10 branches are working in Saudi Arabia. Other specialized banks or institutions of Pakistan are the main or major institutions. They are also performing functions of banks. Number one, Agricultural Development Bank of Pakistan, ADBP. It was established in 1961. Now it is called Zari Taraqqiyati Bank of Pakistan, ZTBL. Number two, Industrial Development Bank of Pakistan. It was also established in 1961. It is briefly known as IDBP. Number three, Pakistan Industrial Credit and Investment Corporation of Pakistan, PICIC. It was also established in 1957. So students, this was about banking sector of Pakistan, in which we had studied the central bank, State Bank of Pakistan, the largest commercial bank, National Bank of Pakistan, other commercial banks, the function, the performance of all these institutions, and we have been able to get some information about banking sector of Pakistan. Thank you very much.